I was starting out, I was doing aesthetic things, and I was doing women, and I was doing breast augmentations. I love women, love, love, love women. But then I was sort of doing the same thing all the other guys and women, surgeons in New York was tummy tuck, breast aug, tummy tuck, breast aug. And there wasn't as much variety. And then I started seeing men, and a lot of my guys, I always say my friends become my patients and my patients become my friends. But I had so many dudes, they were like, hey man, when are you going to get done? I want you to do my abs. So I started doing, sculpting out some abs, and they liked them. And so they say, hey, you do that? Can you do my pecs? Yeah, okay, I'll do it. And then they said, well, what about my biceps? And then it went on from there, forearms, calves, and we just started. Finally, my patient coordinator would say, hey, Dr. Steinbrech, he'd come on your desk, do you do? And then he'd just say, forget it, I'll just I'll book the case because I'm sure you'll figure it out. But I liked it because women's plastic surgery, particularly cosmetic plastic surgery, kind of had its heyday in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Like they've made some advances, but that was like the Wild Wild West, and when really things were new and exciting. Men's plastic surgery is like that now, so it's really sort of the golden era. We're doing so many new, innovative plastic surgeries. We wrote a plastic surgery textbook. So it's male aesthetic plastic surgery, just to show that like the guy's legit.
Can you maybe share an experience that was a life-changing event, and I'm sure you have many of them, working with somebody who really was maybe very frustrated, or with where they were at, and maybe it was something from a deformity that they've lived with their whole lives, or something that you were able to, with your artistry and your experience, were able to really make a big change for them that was transformative.
I'll tell you exactly, and I do it almost like probably a couple times a month now, and we're busy. We're operating this week. We're operating 5 days a week. Next week we're operating 5 days a week. Then I see a couple of days I see patients in the afternoon, but we start at 6 a.m. every single morning. But what really excites me is a lot of guys are born with a thing called Poland's disease. And Chris, you may have heard it, where they're missing one of their pec muscles. And it has a variable expression of the gene to the phenotype, which is Dr. Weirdo speak. That means it could only be just a little bit, you're missing a little bit of the fibers of the pec, to complete loss of pec muscle and loss of the entire extremity. So it's really crazy. But most of these guys are like, they're guys that go to the gym. Some of them are bodybuilders, but some of them are guys that go to the gym. And they just cannot get any growth out of one side of their pec. So what they end up doing is they're very, very frustrated, and they either give up or they don't know what to do. And they don't realize that there's actually a cure for Poland syndrome. And so what we do is we bring them in, we either put in a pec implant for reconstructive and aesthetic purposes, or we do a little what I call bodybanking. That's where we borrow the fat from another area, a bad area, either your flanks or your belly, and then we isolate the cells for structure and volume, and we reintroduce those into the pec muscle. And I could do a couple rounds of grafting, body banking to the pec that is down, and we could get a pretty good match on our Alpha Male Plastic Surgery and maleplasticsurgery.com sites, where you have these guys, and it's not as rare as you would think. There are a lot of guys walking around with only one pec, and they're really bummed out. They're really bummed about it. They can't take the shirt off. When they go to the gym, they're embarrassed. In personal situations with their loved ones or dating, the shirt comes off and you get all these questions. Little kids come up to them on the beach and ask what's going on. So we can get them to a point where there's a really great match, and they've gone all their lives with this problem, and it's a problem that's fixable. They don't even realize it is. And now we have a lot of happy guys.
There's also a lot of actual health benefit to a lot of the surgeries that are performed. And I wanted to kind of tackle some of these, because I think when people think of the work that you do, cosmetic surgery as a whole, plastic surgery is, it's just, just people with a lot of money that just want to spend money on themselves to try and look more perfect. But it goes a lot deeper than that, I think. And let's just kind of run down through like the one aspect, confidence boost. For somebody who's been dealing with a deformity, like you've talked about, like half of a pec, or a whole pec missing, or their whole life, and it's messed with them, their mental health, and how many lives you've transformed just from being able to fix a deformity.
That's a huge thing. I mean, people, what we talk about is aesthetic confidence. Is people, they feel like they can't get to the point where they want to because of certain limitation. And a lot of these, it's not just you think, okay, yeah, modeling, acting, yeah, we get it. Yeah, those are the obvious ways. But if you think of in business, I have a lot of businessmen, and everybody thinks that if you're in finance, that you have to look like Leonardo DiCaprio. And people, this is really interesting. There's an effect, a psychological effect called the Kanye effect. And I don't know if you've ever heard of this, Chris. It's great. The Kanye effect is basically a fancy way of saying fake it till you make it. It's saying that people out there, if you are so confident about what you're doing, and it can be real or it cannot, but if you're so confident, you believe in it, you have such conviction in what you're doing, people want to work with the winning team. They want to pick the winning horse. And they know, and this is how Kanye got his start. You know how much Kanye is up to? $6.6 billion. Mostly on his apparel things. But he's up to $6.6 billion. And he started that a little bit, with all of his issues, his health issues, his mental issues, which he has talked about. He's been a genius because he feels so strongly, has such conviction about what he has. He surrounded himself with an amazing team. And the Kanye effect is you actually do build a great team. And if you keep after them, you end up winning the game because of that confidence. And I get a lot of Wall Street guys that if I sharpen up the jawline, sharpen up the cheekbone, add just with a liquid rhinoplasty, which is reshaping your nose just with a couple of injections, in 10 minutes, you can completely reshape the nose. We have a thing called male model makeover. If you can do that to a guy on Wall Street, suddenly he becomes that Leonardo DiCaprio. He has more confidence to sell his deals, to be better about what he does, to be better in the boardroom. But not just that. We can't help it. People want, when they work with somebody, when they work with a team leader, they want to work with some person that has that look that is more confident. And somebody with a square jaw, with a high cheekbone, maybe with a little bit of less fat underneath their in the jaws. Those guys are going to be the people that are going to get the business.